My name's Cruickshank. Over the course of the next hour or so, I'd like to explain some of the basic structures of the Gypsy Jazz guitar style, as originated by the legendary guitarist Django Reinhardt. Now, it's a pretty well-known fact that Django had a crippled left hand due to a fire in his caravan when he was 18, and it left him with two deformed fingers. The third and fourth fingers were bent back, like so. So he had to evolve a new way of playing using the first two fingers and, to a certain extent, the thumb. That included solo work and also new ways of playing chords using those two fingers and the thumb. So these chords were often very simple to finger, but they sounded very effective. Django would often use one finger to cover two strings, like this sort of thing. Which is an A9th chord. And I'm using the second finger to cover the fifth and fourth strings. Then he would also use his thumb on the bass. So you got an A on the bass, making a full A9th chord. And he would also use the thumb on the fifth string as well as the sixth string in a chord like this. But of course the point is that Django was a genius and he could do impossible things in spite of his deformity. And most of us have the use of all our fingers, so we might as well take advantage of that fact. So what I'll be showing you are the basic building blocks of Django's style, as adapted by various great gypsy guitarists, all of whom studied Django's records, and all of whom have the full set of fingers. And of course, the first essential is to start building a collection of Django's records. And by spending a few hours with each tune, you'll soon become familiar with the sound of the chords, the sound of the rhythm, and the kind of lines that Django would play in his solos. If you really want to get close to the Django sound, you must have the correct combination of pick, strings, and guitar. If we look at the pick, first of all, you'll find that most of the gypsy guitarists and Django play with these very heavy, rigid picks, which are made out of tortoiseshell or horn, or any kind of perspex is pretty good, but bone is a bit too hard and pingy. Now, if you look at this pick that I've got here, this is made out of horn, and you'll see that it has a bevel edge on the leading and trailing edges, which helps the pick to strike the strings more smoothly. The guitar should be of the Macaferri type, as used by Django and most of the gypsies. But the trouble is, of course, they're so rare, the originals are wildly expensive and so rare to find. It's probably best to get hold of a decent handmade copy, like this one, which is made by Doug Kyle. The strings should be light gauge, that is 10 on the top, 10 or 11 on the top, down to 48 or 50 on the bottom string. And with this combination of heavy, rigid pick, light strings, and this type of guitar, you'll get a nice, bright sound with plenty of attack and volume. It's important to cultivate a good right-hand technique because it's the right hand that drives the left hand. And all the gypsy guitarists tend to keep their hand in an arch like this, i.e. away from the guitar. They don't hold on to the body of the guitar in any way. And they keep the fingers tucked up underneath. And the pick is held at a slight angle to the strings, which follows the bevel edge that I was talking about before on the pick. The movement of the right hand is rather like shaking out a lighted match. The way to build a good right-hand technique is to include specific exercises in your daily routine. For example, now I'll move on to the left hand to show some of the trademarks of the gypsy jazz guitar sound. The first of these is vibrato, which is usually played on the first and second strings, and usually with the first and second fingers. And it can either be fast, or it can be slow. And it's a good idea to use all the fingers and all the strings. Another embellishment is the hammering on, hammering off technique, which can be either a tone or a semitone. And if this hammering technique is used in a line, it gives a bounce to the line. Apart from these embellishments, the left hand is used much in the same way as in other styles. The difference lies in the type of lines that are played and the fact that most of the notes are picked. So what we're talking about really is the coordination, accurate coordination between the right and left hands. I'll give you some examples to practice, and you can make up your own as well. When Django was a young lad, he learnt a lot of his technique from working with accordionists who played in the musette tradition, which consisted mainly of waltzes. And this is carried on a lot today also in Paris with the guitarists, the gypsy guitarists. If you'd like to find out about this waltz repertoire, I suggest you consult some of the specialist shops or have a look at my book, details of which come up at the end of the video. In the meantime, I'll show you what I'm talking about with a waltz which I've just this minute composed. I'd like to move on to rhythm playing now. As I said earlier on, the motion of the right hand, especially in rhythm playing, is very fluid and mostly from the wrist, rather like shaking out a match. Now, if you count 4 beats to every bar, either in your head or by tapping with your foot, you'll find that in the Django style, the strong accents are on the 2nd and 4th beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the 1st and 3rd beats are played less strongly and on the bottom strings, the 6th and 5th string. But the thing about it is not to get too bogged down in a 2 to the bar feel, i.e. the 2nd and 4th beats. You really need to keep a 4-4 feel, which is 4 beats to the bar, but still retain the accents. So you get this kind of thing. It's a bit subtle, but I'll give you an idea. Remember when you're playing rhythm to keep to mainly downstrokes and try and cultivate a snap or a swish to the sound. And this is helped along by just slightly brushing the strings with your thumb and 1st and 2nd fingertips. Geographically, there are slight differences in the way the rhythm is approached. For example, the Germans tend to play very hard and fast, while the French get a lot softer sound and a lot of swish to the sound. And then you've got the Dutch and the Belgians who are somewhere in between the two. Having said that, there are 2 main approaches to rhythm playing in the Django style, and one is the traditional way with the accents falling on the 2nd and 4th beats, and the other way is with the 1st and 3rd beats sustained. So I'll do the traditional way first. And the more modern way is to sustain the 1st and 3rd beats. I'll just switch in between the 2. Another feature of gypsy jazz guitar is the use of triads or three-note chords. This was largely developed by Django. Because of his deformity, he had to find simple ways of fingering chords, even though the chords themselves were quite advanced. There are two basic progressions, major and minor. First, we'll take a major progression in the key of G. Instead of playing a G for a bar and a D7 for another bar using conventional shapes like this, we can use a G6 triad followed by a D7 triad followed by an inversion of the G, still a triad, and back to the D7, and then finally returning to the G again. Now you'll notice that I'm playing these triads on the 6th, 5th, and 4th strings, and just deadening the 5th string with my second finger, just touching that 5th string there, so that when the right hand strikes the strings, only 3 notes ring out. So in tempo, the whole thing sounds like this. The beauty of the triad system is that you can get a running bass line on the 6th string, which becomes more apparent when we add a few diminished chords. So here we have the G6 triad again, followed by an A-flat diminished, which is the same shape as I'm going to use for the D7, just by moving it up 1 fret. Then moving up again 1 fret, get a B-flat diminished. Then the triad inversion of G, and then back down, B-flat diminished, to the D7. I'll do that once more. And in tempo, it sounds like this. Now, if we want to put in an A minor 7th in that progression, we can do that also with the triad. There's the A minor 7th there. To the D7. So in tempo again, it sounds like this. Now we'll try a minor progression using triads, using G minor as an example. Here we have a G minor 6, followed by D7, followed by an inversion of G minor, back to the D7, back to the G minor 6. So in tempo, and if we go up a diminished chord, a B diminished, that leads us up into the C minor 6. So I'll just show you that again. Or in tempo, another advantage of the triad system is that you can use the same shape for several different chords depending on the context. So for example, if we take a C7, conventional C7, but instead of having a C on the root, we have a G on the root, G in the bass there, and then switch the fingers round from that to that. So we have the C7 triad, that's C7. It can also be a G minor 6. There's a conventional G minor 6. There's a triad of G minor 6. And it can also translate to a G diminished in the key of F sharp. So if I play F sharp 6 triad down here, F sharp 6, then use that little shape that we used just now, is now a G diminished, which would lead on to an A flat minor 7, and that would resolve to a C sharp 7 triad. So you can see that little shape is very handy, and if you add your little finger to the second string, you can get all kinds of other chords. For example, this is an E7 triad with a B in the bass. And if you flatten your first finger over so that you're holding down the second string with a little barre like that, you get an E7 flat 9, E9th there by just raising the note on the second string 1 fret, putting your little finger there, and raise the second string again, you get an E7 sharp 9. E7 sharp 9, E9, E7 flat 9. Similarly, this triad can be C6. There's the conventional C6. C6, which you can resolve to F7, C to F, just by dropping the note on the third string, C6 to an F7. Or the same shape can be A minor, or rather an inversion of A minor, and this triad here, let's finger it this way, can be an inversion of G, or it can double as an E minor going to an A7. Notice I'm playing the A7th as a triad with my thumb on the bass there. Or you could perhaps try it like that, the same thing. So we've got E minor, A7, D minor, G7, resolving to C, or C6-9. Once again, E minor, A7, D minor, G7, C6-9. Incidentally, you can play the bottom of the C6-9 by doing this. So, depending on the context, you can call these triads different names. Also, once you get the hang of them, you can move around progressions pretty quickly and with very little stretching, which is really handy when you're working at rapid tempo. Here's another example of how we can use these triads. I'm playing a B flat 6, B flat minor, an inversion of F, G diminished, G minor 7, C7 to F. Then an F7 triad, which leads us back into the B flat again. So in tempo it sounds like this. Now if we add our little finger on the second string, we can get a bit more color to the chords. Here's a blues sequence in B flat, using mainly triads with the occasional added note. Although the triads sound especially good on the 6th, 4th and 3rd strings, they can also be used effectively on the 5th, 3rd and 2nd strings. So if we take an example in C minor leading up to F minor, we have the C minor triad, leading up to F minor. We can do the same thing, finding the bass on the 5th string. That's conventional C minor there. Leading up to F minor. I'll do it once more. Notice I'm deadening the 4th string with the 2nd finger. Of course, triads are only one chordal ingredient, and they should be used in conjunction with conventional shapes and what I'll call Django-style chords. If we take the key of G major, I'll show you some of the substitutes and inversions that Django would use. For example, this is a G9 that he used. You'll notice there's a B in the bass on the 5th string instead of the conventional G. B is the 3rd note in the scale of G major. Or we can find the B up here. I'm using my thumb to cover the B. And the same chord is there. This is a very useful chord in a blues. It's a very strong dominant 7th, leading to a C9. Or it can be used as a final chord in the key of G. Suppose we have a rundown at the end of a tune which goes something like this. And instead of resolving to the G, we can use that chord there, or up here. So here we go. Other variations of the major chord are the 6th and 6/9 shapes that Django would use. So if we take the key of G again, we've got 6/9, a 6 on the bottom, rather. Then on the middle strings, working up, we have. Then on the top string. And so on up. Depending on which voicing you want. Incidentally, going back to the 6/9 down here, we can use the thumb to get the bass. And by dropping the first finger down on the 3rd string, we get a minor 6/9, which is very handy when you're doing blues. A minor 7 can be played like this, instead of the conventional way. So I'm playing a D minor 7. There's the root there, there's the D on the 5th string, which will resolve to a G7, which will resolve to a C major 7. So we've got. Or another way around that progression is D minor 7, D minor 9th by dropping the note on the 2nd string, D flat 7 with a raised 9 to a C6/9. Once more, that's D minor 9, sorry, D minor 7, D minor 9, D flat 7 with a raised 9, C6/9. Django would often move the notes within a chord to give an orchestral effect. The actual movement goes like this sort of thing. And when this is combined with a fast tremolo in the right hand, it gives an orchestral effect like a string section or a brass section. Another common chord in this music is the diminished, which moves up or down 4 frets at a time. And they can be played either with 3 notes or 4. I'll show you the 3-note version first. Or if you use 4 notes, again by flattening the first finger down. Because this music is often in a minor key, you have a lot of diminished changes in between the main changes. So it follows that you can find all kinds of ways of playing a diminished scale to link up with other lines. One of the easiest and most common ways of playing a diminished scale is by means of a 4-fret jump. Another way around it is to do this, still in 4 frets, but slightly different fingering. When you get to that one, almost like a chord. So again. And then carry on the second string. In a minor sequence such as A minor, D minor, and E, we can use the diminished scale to link up the 3 chords. So I'll start with an A minor run, and then go to a diminished, which leads into a D minor, and then over the E7, play another one. Django would play arpeggios in very simple but effective ways. I'll show you just a few of them. Here's one in D. I'll do that slowly, starting with the F sharp on the bottom. You can use your first finger if you like. I use my thumb. Here's another one in G major. Here's a longer arpeggio, this time in the key of E major. Here's another arpeggio in F. And this one is movable, so you can play it in almost any key. We take C, for example. D, back to F. Here's a C minor arpeggio. To find it lower down on the fingerboard, we can start on the 5th string. And we can extend that one upwards. that again. Although Wes Montgomery is famous for his use of octaves, Django was the first guitarist to use them extensively in order to boost the excitement in a number or to create a thicker musical texture. Octaves are played with the first and fourth fingers in pairs. So starting at the bottom, we've got the sixth and the fourth string with a dead string in between, which I'm deadening with the first finger just by touching it and striking all three strings at once. Then if we move over, we got, and then again, this time with an extra stretch, and again to the top. From these pairs of octaves, it's pretty easy to create simple melodies. In the gypsy guitar style, there are a number of tricks or devices that are used to create excitement. One of these is the triplet run on the top three strings, diminished triplet. So I'm starting with 3 downstrokes, then moving up 4 frets, playing an upstroke on the top string, then 3 down, move the shape up 4 frets again, upstroke, 3 down, move up again, upstroke, and 3 down. So that way I was starting with an upstroke, so it doesn't matter which way around you do it. You can start with the upstroke, then 3 down. Or you can go 3 down and then move. So it doesn't matter which way you do it. Another famous device that Django used to create excitement was the chromatic run, which he could execute with amazing dexterity and speed. And it literally takes years and years to perfect. But I'll just show you how it's done slowly. This is just one example. You can start anywhere with an open string. I'll start with the A. Another little device is this one over a major chord. This time we're using B flat major. As you can imagine, improvising is an art which requires endless study and practice. I can't really show you how to improvise because it's up to you to learn as much as you can on the instrument to the point where you're expressing your own ideas. But what I can do is give you a few pointers to start you off in that direction. One thing you can do is to play around the chords and their inversions. Here I'm playing around a G minor on a 3rd fret. Then if we play around the inversion of that, again G minor. And if we move up to another inversion up here, if we take the same idea in a major key, we move up. Up again. However, the best way to improvise is to find a logical, meaningful line through the chords rather than playing bits and pieces of scales here and there. And it's good to keep the melody in the back of your mind, and then you can play around with it. Improvisation starts in the head, after all, and the best way to get your imagination going is to listen to all the great jazz soloists and also to classical music, just as Django did. Gradually, you'll find that these little lines and structures stick in your mind, and you can whistle them, hum them, sing them. And once you can sing a line, it's pretty easy to translate it to the fretboard. Well, I hope I've been able to give you a few ideas at least on the gypsy guitar style. The rest is really up to you to work and experiment on. Meanwhile, if you're wondering how to translate some of these ideas into a more modern way of playing, I put together a little piece to show you how to do that, using some of the techniques and structures that I've described. Good luck and keep swinging.